Welcome back to On the Perf, brought to you by Atlas Gunworks. Why Atlas Gunworks? Well, you remember the Fast and the Furious movies where they tried to convince you that a Honda Civic with a bunch of bolt-on stuff was cooler than a Ferrari and better than a Ferrari? They lied. If you want a Ferrari, you just got to buy a Ferrari. How do I know? Because I have the 2011 equivalent of a Honda Civic with a bunch of bolt-on parts, and it's not a Ferrari. Mr. Maxwell, how are you doing today, buddy?
Ejecto-cedo, cuz.
Exactly correct.
I'm good,
exactly
man.
Correct.
You know, we talk about how it is a visual sport. You know, you can only shoot as fast as you can see. Just got back from my annual optometrist checkup, which we end up really just educating me more on optics and how to explain vision to people. So always like going to the eye doctor. I go to the eye doctor and the dentist more than I go to the actual doctor. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's important. I just a few years ago learned that I have really terrible eyesight, and I didn't know that I had terrible eyesight because I didn't know what good eyesight was supposed to look like. I got glasses, and I stepped out, and I went, "Oh, you're just supposed to be able to read that sign over there? Oh, this is going to be really handy for shooting where I have to see stuff." Yeah.
Shout out to Todd Wydell, the first optometrist of the action shooting sports, a.k.a. John's dad.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. All right, well, we have an interesting topic today. Maybe an interesting topic. We'll see. But I got variations on this question from a couple people, Tyler, Brian, and a couple names that are escaping me at the moment. But pretty much it was, what matches are you going to and why? They kind of wanted a bit of a flavor of the matches that exist in the country right now. So like specifically my buddy Brian shot a bunch of 3-gun, kind of took a little bit of a break, and now he's getting back into it and trying to get a handle on the landscape. So what we're going to do here, me and Amax are going to kind of run through our major match schedule and give you guys what matches we're going to, a little bit of why, and a little bit of flavor for the match, so you can get a little bit of a handle on just what to expect when you go to these things. So it's not going to be super deep dive into any one match, but should give you the 30,000 foot view of all of them. What do you think about that?
Hashtag not a review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is don't get all pissy with us. If you don't like our opinion, go to the match and find out yourself. So we're just gonna crank on through the calendar here and talk about what we have coming up. So a few things. I am shooting a pretty decent amount of non-3-gun stuff, so I'm just gonna touch on those ones really quick. But we will cover some 3-gun stuff, some USPSA stuff, some shotgun stuff, some NRL Hunter stuff.
Well, yeah, let's touch on it all. It's not just a 3-gun show, so let's touch 100%. On all of it. And part of when we were talking in the pre-chat here, part of what makes this kind of a difficult topic is there are not as many matches to choose from as there used to be. There was a period of time between, I don't know, what do you think, 2016 and 2019?
Yeah.
Where there was a time where there was like quote-unquote major match, which we would define as a multi-day event with a prize table. There was a quote-unquote major match almost every weekend of the year somewhere in the country from like April Fool's Day to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it got like pretty nutty there for a while.
It was pretty crazy. And that was not sustainable.
No.
We just knew it wasn't going to last. Like the turnouts, there were tons of matches and they were all over the country, but they also, what people kind of fail to realize is they also got kind of lame turnouts. Like if you got 100, 120 people at some of those events, you're doing pretty good. But like for a major match to be a quote unquote major match, like what everybody pictures in their head, I mean, they're picturing 200-300 people. And really that's what kind of gives a match kind of the critical mass to survive. Just on, a solid base of people that come every year, a solid staff that wants to work it, new staff coming in to replace people that don't want to do it anymore, new shooters coming in that replace the people who are aging out, all that kind of stuff to make matches sustainable. We kind of in that era on like the industry side of it, we kind of knew it was going to retract somehow, and COVID happened. So that's when
COVID retracted it very hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, like looking at the calendar right now, I think it's actually in like a pretty decent spot because there's essentially a major a month, if not a little bit more.
Yep.
There's a couple gaps in there. You need to be traveling the country to do it. It used to be where I could kind of like shoot a major every month within driving distance, but this year I'm getting on a plane for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But then, a lot of these things, like there's 2 matches that will be on the calendar here where I'm 60 deep on the wait list and hoping to get in. So, it's been really interesting to hear people talk about like, oh, 3 gun is dead. It's like, oh yeah, try to get into some of these matches. Some of them are selling out in like literal minutes.
Yeah. And like when we started in the sport, like there was 5 events. Like that's all there was.
That was the whole thing.
The whole thing. And then it exploded and now it's retracted again, hoping it's going to find some equilibrium somewhere. But like in this 2016 to 2019 time frame that we're talking about, there was also kind of these like subcultures, like guys were going to quote unquote major matches, but like Midwest guys kind of hardly ever left the Midwest, and Carolina guys kind of hardly ever left Carolina, and Texas guys kind of hardly ever left Texas, and the Southwest guys kind of ever left the Southwest. You ask a Texan like, "Hey, do you think you're better than Scott Green, who's a Southwest guy?" And they're like, "Who's Scott Green?" I'm like, seriously?
Yeah,
really? And same thing on the West Coast. Like, well, do you think you're better than Matt Martini? They're like, who's that? It's like, they kind of lived in their own little ecosystems, and there were only a few people that kind of crossed the boundaries, if you will, and traveled around. A super annoying thing, like when you came onto this topic, when you talk to people about this topic outside of like a podcast, a lot of times you ask them, well, what's your favorite match? And they'd spit it out. I'm like, well, why is it your favorite match? They're like, well, it's the closest to me. Like,
yeah.
Oh, really? That's why it's your favorite, huh? It's like, it's so good, but that's the best thing about it is that it's the closest to you.
That doesn't sound like a very good match.
It doesn't sound like a very good match to me.
No.
So hopefully we're going to give you a little bit better information than that.
I think so. Yeah, you should at least have a good idea. So before we turn to the calendar here, so finding matches, unfortunately, because there's no governing body for 3-gun, and especially once you get into like NRL, which uses its own entirely different system outside of practice score and things along those lines, it sometimes becomes hard just to find what matches are happening. So you end up like going down a rabbit hole of YouTube clicks or of Google clicks trying to, just determine like what's going on and what's not. So I start my calendar every single year by plotting every single match that I can find in the dates. And then if I can't find the dates for this season, I'll plot the dates for last season. And then I'll start kind of picking through which ones I want to go to, trying to find the registration. I was a little bit late on some of those this year because I kind of, got back into the world a little bit late. But so practice score is the place where you're going to find and sign up for the most stuff. But right now, I would say the individual place to look for major multi-gun events is probably the Action Gunner website. That seems to be the most consolidated, like everything in one click view that's going on right now. Do you know of another one?
I do not, and I don't follow Action Gunner, but knowing those guys personally, what you're saying makes sense. And that would be like a lot of time. The reason I got involved with USPSA to run the multi-gun stuff is because this is literally one of those united we stand, divided we fall things. When Meta stopped letting us communicate and announce matches, like on where they suppressed it quite a bit, that's where it's really hard to get the word out. on some of this stuff. So an organization like a USPSA or an entity like an Action Gunner kind of has to be the Switzerland of it all, where people can collectively go to find some of this stuff. And it needs to exist in a platform outside of Meta. A big part of the reason, like, I could think of a bunch of other things to do with my time, but the reason that I get involved with the USPSA stuff is because USPSA has the most viable chance of doing that that I see currently. So that's why I do it. Also, shameless plug, as this is recorded, registration for Multi-Gun Nationals, which I am the match director of, is open. So you can head over to practicecore.com and get signed up for that, which is one of the matches we're going to talk about. But registration is live for that as we speak.
Yeah, get on it. All right, so I would say the match calendar pretty much starts in March for obvious reasons,
Loser.
most of which being weather.
Mine starts in February. The first match I really have my sights set on is the Western States Single Stack Championship at Rio Salado, which is in Phoenix, Arizona. It's one of the last remaining major low cap matches. So it is a single stack only match. And then during the staff shoot, they also do like a piggyback, like Outlaw Revolver, kind of I-Core-ish, USPSA-ish kind of thing. So that's the first one on my calendar that I'm like really excited about for the season, just because I'm a dyed-in-the-wool single stack guy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got its own unique flavor. Rio Salado is a legendary range. They do a good job with it. I've gone the last few years, and kind of similar to how Adam populates his calendar, I unfortunately, I'll call it cheating. I essentially plan on going back to the matches this year that I liked last year. And then also, I sit very close to my good friend Travis, who manages all of the match sponsorships for Vortex. And so when matches apply for sponsorship, that's how we hear about them. Like, oh, hey, this match is going on. Somebody want to go to this? And we'd be like, oh, yeah, I want to go. Oh, no, I'm out. Or I'm busy or whatever. Yeah. So, it's first world problems, to be sure. But that's how I usually discover matches. Or, if I hear about a match, it's like, hey, are we sponsoring this one? And that's how I link into most of them. But really now it's kind of settled into matches that I've shot in the past and I liked, or a new and upcoming match that I heard about and I want to try. And the first one is that single stack match. And then that gets into, I think, the one that you were leading into, which is the first weekend in March.
Yeah, so first weekend of March, Dissident Shotgun Championship down in Texas, and this will be the first 2025 match for the 2026 IPSC Shotgun qualifiers. There was one at the end of 2024, which I missed. So I am going to go to as many of these as I can afford / can schedule, because one, I'm trying to make one of the teams, and two, I want to get as much practice with this style of kind of technical IPSC style shotgun shooting as I can going into the 26th season for IPSC Shotgun World Shoot.
Yep, and so important thing, and I think we talked about it in a previous episode too, this is a new thing this year. All of the matches on that schedule, the 5 qualifier matches for the 2025 season, they're all brand new matches. They're all basically people in our network of underground outlaw 3-gun match directors who I could convince to put one of these on. And they're all new. So it's a qualifier for the World Shoot, but also it's kind of our chance to invigorate some of the single gun sports in the genre of action shooting, which I think ultimately will make the sport more sustainable And Mike and Lan at Distant Arms, they have the most favorable climate to start off first. So they picked the weekend in March, and they're leading off. And that's going to be at the Ranch TX, not to be confused with the Ranch Texas. The Ranch TX in Eagle Lake, Texas, is going to be the first one, which is a really nice range facility. They host a lot of interesting events. I've been there for the Shooter Symposium a bunch of times, which is kind of a tactical entertainment kind of event. I've been to some of the initial like Big Techs carbine matches and multi-gun matches. It's a very nice facility, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it for a shotgun venue.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't been to most of these ranges that I'm going to go to. A lot of the matches when I was used to be traveling for matches a lot are all in different facilities than they were back when I went. So it'll be really interesting for me because I think just about every single place I'm going to is going to be new for me this year, but that'll definitely be one. Let's see. A couple weekends after that is Superstition. Are you going to Superstition this year?
I have not been to Superstition. I'm not planning to go to Superstition.
Yep. I am also not going to Superstition because I did not sign up early enough. So one of the matches that sells out, like I said, 3-gun is not dead. It is quite hard to get into some of these matches still.
Aside from, I don't know which one predates which, but it is one of the longest running contiguous matches in 3-gun.
Yep.
Well, Rocky Mountain would probably be in there too.
I think Rocky Mountain, I think has Superstition barely.
Yeah, Iron Man has died and mutated. Blue Ridge has died. Midwest has died. Well, it died and mutated. But like longest contiguous running, Superstition is one of them. Now, why am I not going? That would go back to just internally. There's only so many slots and only so many people that can be gone at a time. So that was one that I never really asked for in the past. And like whenever I would watch videos of it, I mean, we're talking 5 to 8 years ago. Whenever I would see videos of it, it just wasn't one that I was like, oh yeah, I want to go to that one. But there were people who did want to go, and it was pretty competitive to get into. So it was just never one that I fought to get into. And then the people who traditionally got to go. So the only reason I haven't gone and aren't going this year is because just it's never one that I really got on the list for, and there's other people in rotation that do go. I hear I think leadership on it has evolved over the years. That's another one that's at Rio Salado. So Rio Salado does a pretty good job, but Rio Salado they have their own universe in running matches. It defies, they don't live in reality. But one, I guess the other reason that I don't necessarily go to Superstition is because I like to go to the Western State Single Stack, and I like to go to Area 2, which are also at that range. So kind of like the old Vegas days. It's like, hey, man, do you really need to go to Rio Salado 3 times in a year? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a fair point. So we kind of like, hey, if you want to go to Rio, like pick the ones and we'll spread them around kind of thing. But it is, from what I hear, it is a very good match. I hear the price table is quote-unquote stacked. Everybody says that about every match. The people who tell me this, I believe them. So they do have a reputation for a pretty good prize table. It does fill up and has a very good reputation year to year.
I have shot Superstition a handful of times. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. You need to like memory stages. If you like, a bay with 100 barrels and 60 targets in it, then this is the match for you. There's some squirrely stuff that I haven't been a fan of, but mostly it's kind of the season opener usually. And a lot of my friends are there. It's barely within driving distance of my house. And they're not kidding about the price table. It's pretty legit. So mostly like I don't know. If there was something else in the same weekend, I would probably go to it. I'm not going this weekend just because I didn't get in. But it's not necessarily like my style of match, but it is fun to hang out with all my boys, and the competition there is very stout because some pretty serious shooters go. So to put down a podium finish there is not messing around. After that, the very next weekend, Battle for the South, which was previously a 3-gun match, is a 2-gun match for the first time this year, is my understanding. And it is in the same place where they do Memorial 3-gun, correct?
Yep. So that is put on by the Zoo City. I don't even know what they... Zoo City Armory is the ammo company. I'm not sure what they call the match directing company. But Zoo City is the group that puts it on. That's Jason Byerly, Buddy Brown, and a couple other people whose names I'm going to forget, and I'm sorry. But it's that group of North Carolina guys that put that one on. And essentially, I think it kind of became like the spring Memorial. Like, it was their spring match. Memorial's their big fall match. And it was at the same facility, so it's at Griffin Group. So they used a lot of the same facade, a lot of the same areas and props. Not as big a production value as Memorial is. I'm sure we'll talk about Memorial later. But yeah, it was kind of like the spring, kind of the sister match. There's a couple other matches in the country too where it's like it's at the same venue, it's on a little bit smaller scale. But you can kind of get a similar flavor because ultimately it's a similar group of people putting it on at the same place. Yeah, it was kind of the not Memorial match is kind of what I used to call it unofficially. But yeah, Battle for the South was in the spring at Griffin Group. And then this year they elected to try that as a 2-gun match. And we'll see how that goes. And I kind of, what I wonder about, I have this big question about 2-gun, all 2-gun, because, am I going to go here?
Go for it, buddy. You're in a safe place.
2-guns for whiners.
Yes.
So it's really from, I want to shoot a shotgun. But I would come out and shoot with you guys if you didn't shoot shotgun. So, but in my way back when experience, and when our clubs would actually like throw 2-gun matches, then those guys had to like mow their lawn or paint their mailbox or whatever it was on that day. It was like, well, you said if we threw a 2-gun match, you'd come out, and they still don't come out.
Yep.
But this match is in a very close proximity to Fort Bragg. So they do have a high concentration of people who would be likely candidates to want to try this format. So if anywhere could be successful at 2-gun, this is definitely a place that would have a high propensity for it. My question mark on it is, with the Zoo City guys, they are match design geniuses. I would say they are one of the world-class match directors in the country. My question is what direction are they going to go with 2-gun? Because a lot of my gripe with a lot of the direction of other matches right now is they're kind of turning into another long-range sport. They're not really exploring like the carbine aspect of carbines. It's, hose some stuff, lay on your belly, shoot some long-range stuff. So to what extent are they going to do that versus make it a carbine match? I'm not sure. They did say they're kind of limiting target distances to like 400-ish yards was what I audibly heard and remembered. Obviously subject to change. But they said limiting kind of targets to 400-ish yards, which for Memorial and other matches that they do, 600-700 yards is absolutely on the table. So they would be reining in the distances a little bit. They said targets would be a little bit bigger, like long-range targets would be a little bit bigger. I don't remember exactly what they said for size, if they said. 4 MOA is generally like the unspoken rule of thumb for a 3-gun, so to be a little bit bigger, 6 MOA, 8 MOA. I'm not sure what they're planning to do there. And then the other interesting thing that I'm curious to see how it turns out is they have a few different divisions. Like they have a patrol or a practical type division, which is probably what most people are going to be in. There's going to be an open type division. And then there's a heavy metal division, which is basically open with 308. They have an AK division, which is basically open on a Kalashnikov-based rifle. And then I think I'm even forgetting a division. But they have some divisions, but they're all basically open, like open pistols, essentially, and open everything, support devices, muzzle brakes, everything. But the base rifles are a little bit different, which is either genius or a big flop. And well, we'll figure it out after the match happens.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, it's always hard to say when you start messing around with divisions. Sometimes it's brilliant, and sometimes it's a huge pain in the ass.
Yep. And like that's one of the reasons why, why I dabble in, I don't even dabble anymore. Why I got involved with the USPSA stuff is like trying to bring us all together under something similar. But at the same time, they have kind of their core matches, but then they're also, this is kind of an exploratory project for them, from what I understand. And like I pulled a dissident cert off a prize table, actually a couple certs that went into this one, but I got a Defector 5.56 AK from Dissident. So I have a raced out AK Wait,
so you shooting AK and hiding from me in this match? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not hiding from you. You're hiding from me. I've been shooting AK. I signed up for it first.
I only shoot open. I'm Josh Freilich, man.
Yeah. Well, you want to come where the heat is. Like I don't know what to tell you.
I'm confident there will be heat and open. So next,
it's gonna be really embarrassing
next one
when I
up.
beat you.
Yeah, if you beat me with an AK, what do you think is what's the handicap here? How many percent?
I wanted to be cocky and say I didn't need one, but I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a 12 spot off you.
12? Wait, you went from I don't need a gap to 12%.
I didn't say that. I said I wanted to say that for the show because that would be better radio. But
you're going to take a 12% gap. I don't know, man. I don't know if an AK makes up for especially a raced out dissident. I don't know if that's a 12% gap.
Only got 30 round mags though. Like I got one kind of mag.
All right, well here's the deal. If you're listening to this, if you're listening to this right now, we're going to start a survey. Hit us up and let us know what percent gap do you think the difference between an AK and an AR in a match like this is, and that will be the official spread of On the Perf between Adam and Adam.
There we go.
All right. The very next weekend, the 29th and 30th, speaking of two-gun, the Ranch PCSL two-gun down in Texas as well. I'm not going to this one only because I'm going to Battle of the South the weekend before, and I was already there when this launched.
That's true. And point of clarification, this is the other Ranch, Texas. This is the Ranch, Texas,
not TX,
near San Antonio. The one that's in San Antonio. And this range is actually cool because I actually go way back with this guy. The owner, Chad Timney, and I were teammates on PWS when PWS first picked me up, like young in our career. So we were buddies for a long time. He actually had his career prior to this was doing trade shows in Vegas, and he and some investors went in and they basically bought one of the old Blackwater training sites, like not the one in Moyock. Cool. This is one of the satellite ones. So this is a GWAT era Blackwater training site. It has like a driving course. They have like constructed a bunch of shoot houses on it, like legit shoot houses. They did a bunch. I was there when they were first doing the excavation on it, or renovation, I guess you could say. They were out there just for like most of a summer with caterpillars, landscaping, and they did a lot of work to this place. And so I think it's a pretty cool range. San Antonio's a long way away from everybody, but I do think it is worth checking out. And I have to say, like, being the guy who's not a fan of how much long range has been injected into 3-gun lately, I'm actually probably most excited for PCSL multi-gun for the coming year outside of the events that I'm actually running. So, like, events that I just get to go shoot and I'm not working, I'm probably most excited for this one in PCSL Nationals. And I'm also no holds bar. I'm actually planning to shoot my AK at this one as well, but I think it's actually a pretty good setup for the kind of speedball format that PCSL is. Because I definitely, when we were talking in our after action of the PCSL Nationals, one of the things that I took away from that match is my gun is too heavy and it's got too much shit on it. So I'm going to like strip that thing way down and be real slicked up to try and get a little bit more raciness in my carbine. So I'm kind of excited to do some. I kind of want some redemption from last fall at this match, and I'm excited to see what they do at this new facility. So I think it's worth attending and worth putting on your list, especially if you got that gap in the calendar, or if you're in the southern U.S. I don't think there's a whole lot of buzz about it, so this would be a good one to get in at the ground level on.
Yeah, this is one that I'm very disappointed that I'm not going to be able to make, but I was looking at my calendar and everything is too squished together with other commitments, and just ain't going to happen. So you can't shoot them all. Let's see. So then we're into April.
Yep.
So March is quite packed. April,
I basically live in Texas. Like, I don't live in Texas, but I basically fly back and forth to Texas a bunch for matches and other stuff. So, like, the next one is the Texas 3-Gun Championship.
Indeed, which is I am signed up for, and I am. I just emailed a couple days ago to find out exactly how waitlisted I was, aka how likely am I to get in. And the match is full, and I am 60 deep on the wait list, which is not the bottom of it.
Yeah.
So,
and it's so hard to judge because, like, on the backside of it, what you have to understand about matches that sell out, or any match, I think any match, pretty much you can expect, like on the match director side, you can pretty much expect 10 to 20% shrink off of people that sign up. So, however many people you get signed up, 10 to 20% of them are going to lose their job. Their grandma's going to die. They have to watch their dog. Their kid's got a basketball tournament. Something they're going to have to withdraw. So people are going to get off the wait list. And then, I mean, it's not like a gun club, okay, where it's like the only point of having a club is to tell people that can't be in it. Like, match directors want to accommodate as many people as they reasonably can. So if there's a way to get people off the wait list, they usually do. It might be something like, hey, you can shoot the staff match if you want. I think, I'm not going to put words in Aaron's mouth, but I think they have talked about opening up more squads for the pre-match to make more room for people. But in the past, even though this is one of the matches that sells out in like 2 minutes every year, it is one of the biggest of the year. Well, it is the biggest. I mean, it's kind of a tie. Every year on the survey that I do for Multi-Gun Nationals, I ask what other match is your favorite. You know, disregarding this one, which match is your favorite? And Texas 3-Gun Championship is always number one, and Memorial 3-Gun is a pretty close second. So I would say it is the biggest and most anticipated match of the year. It's at a legit South Texas ranch. It's usually a mountain bike park most of the year, and then there's ranges on it, and then there's a lot of natural terrain features that they use as well. But it is one of the best. It's the best. Yeah, it's the best natural terrain facility that gets used during the whole season. It is must attend if you can go. It's long range, it's jungle runs, it's all of it. It's the full deal in 3-gun. And now if you're like Riser and you're stuck on that waiting list, what you also need to understand is the sister match to this one in the fall is called the Vortex Shootout. So same ranch, same facility, very similar people, very similar flavor, and that is a match that is easier to get into. So if you can't make Texas 3-gun championship, or you don't make it off the wait list, or your cousin has a wedding that weekend or whatever, there is essentially a very, very similar match to this at the same place in the fall. It's called the Vortex Shootout, put on by Jeremy Moore.
Yeah, this is one that I am really hoping I make the wait list. I actually emailed Aaron about it yesterday, and he was like, you have a 50-50 shot, and it's going to be very last minute, so plan accordingly. I'm like,
Yep.
all right, I'll do my best.
But this is the one that birthed my whole idea about shooting 6 arc. This one, I mean, Aaron likes shotguns, so there's a lot of shotgun stuff here. The shotgun isn't lame. Hayes Custom Guns makes pistols, so the pistol shooting isn't lame.
So basically nothing's lame and everything's awesome is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and it is natural terrain. So this is pro tip on this one. This is a match. You do have to drive to all the stages. Some of them are on ranch roads, like real ranch roads. Highly recommend.
So when you get your rental car, don't get a Civic.
Yeah, highly recommend you get an SUV, or you bring an SUV, something with 4-wheel drive or some ground clearance. I've done it with Sprinter vans and stuff before, but like minivans do get through. It's kind of sketchy. If it's your wife's baby, like don't bring it. But like, yeah, if you're trying to like drive in there with a car, or if if you're looking at the website, the rental car website, like trying to decide what you're going to get, it's worth the upgrade to get something with 4-wheel drive and ground clearance, because you do have to drive some fairly unmaintained roads, to get around this match.
Yep. Good beta. So let's see. The next thing I have on the calendar is the 25th. Do you have anything between that?
25th of April?
Of April.
No, what's on the 25th of April?
25th of April on my calendar is a NRL Hunter match up in Mountain Home, Idaho. So NRL
that?
Hunter is super, super fun. If you look at a PRS match and you're like, that sounds fun, except I don't want to have a 32-pound rifle shooting, 6 Creedmoor and, all this other shenanigans that goes along with PRS stuff. It's the original idea was that it was supposed to be sort of a prep match for hunters, and is turned into a full nationwide awesomeness. So the way the match works, it is a long-range match. Almost everybody's going to be shooting both guns. They have a weight limit on rifles, so you can't get out of hand with bolt-on weights and stuff like that.
Well, like so what kind of weight limit? Like if I have a box stock Bergara HMR 6.5, is that legal?
Yeah, you're probably going to be fine. So they have a light, a heavy, and a production class. And the production class, there is just a list where it's like, if you own one of these rifles, you're in.
Ruger American.
Yeah, you're in for sure. So I think, if I recall correctly, the light is 13 pounds and the heavy is 16 pounds. I might be off a little bit, give or take, but I think those were the weights. My 6.5 Creedmoor just makes a weight limit for heavy. And then they have a power factor that you have to make as well, which is, I think it's 380,000, which basically translates to, you have to shoot 6.5 Creedmoor. You're going to be shooting 140 grain bullet or better. A lot of people shoot like 6.5 PRC and things like that, because your power factor is the tiebreaker. So if two people score exactly the same, whoever has a higher power factor gets the W, and wins have been determined on that.
So it's not power factor like USPSA, it's like they figure out what you're shooting.
No, it's exactly like USPSA. So you are shooting whatever grain bullet, and when you register, you shoot it past a chrono, and your bullet weight times your velocity is your power factor.
Yeah, but if my power factor is 172 and your power factor is 195,
yep,
it's not major minor. You are
Correct.
shooting a higher power factor than I am, so that's the tiebreaker.
That's the tiebreaker, yes. And then there is a power factor floor, and if my pulling it out of my ass math is correct, if you're shooting a 140 grain bullet, it's got to be going like 2780 to make power factor. So you can't even like load some light 6.5 Creedmoor. It needs to be like not messing around ammo.
Nice.
So like I actually switched to 147s. 147s? Yeah, 147s just because it was easier to make power factor.
All right. And I'm not hiding from you on that match. I have to do my real job in Texas that weekend.
Yeah.
So I expect a full
thing,
report.
Yeah, no. So the interesting thing about NRL Hunter matches though is they're all blind stages. So it's not like
because it's a hunting
PRS.
match.
It's a hunting match. So not only blind stages, like you have to find the targets. So what it is you get 4 minutes, which sounds like a lot of time and is not. And you, once you cross a threshold, they'll basically be like, hey, here's the deal. There's this many targets out there. There's this many positions you have to shoot them from. And the way that it maths out is it's always going to be 4 shots, essentially. So it'll either be 1 position with 4 targets, 2 positions with 2 targets, or 4 positions with 1 target. And you get 2 points for a first round impact, 1 point for a second round impact, no points after that. So your best score on every stage is 8. Every time you miss, you drop a point. If you miss again, you drop another point. Now, so you walk through the line, and they'll basically say there's this many targets, there's this many positions. The target is a goat, a dinosaur, a chicken, whatever it is. Time starts now, and they click the thing. And so you have to set up all of your gear, find all of the targets, which can be very hard depending on where this is at. Range all the targets, build your dope card, go down, build your position, shoot the targets. You got 4 minutes to do all of that. And then what I do, I actually shoot this with my alpine climbing partner, Rick, who's archery hunter, doesn't even own his own rifle. He borrows one of my guns and we go shoot it together. And then we shoot the team event, which is the same thing, except everybody has to shoot everything and you get 6 minutes. So you get a little more time. You can have 2 people on glass, finding and ranging stuff, and then everybody shoots everything, and it is awesome. Like super, super, super fun. Such a blast.
It does. I don't know much about NRL Hunter, but the more I hear about it, the more interesting it sounds like, and I really want it to succeed because it does sound like a very interesting sport. Truth be told, I'm just not that interested in getting into long range. I'll probably just shoot more pistol than get into long range. It's also somewhat my geography where I live. We just don't have a lot of long range interesting stuff to do here.
Yep.
But that does sound like a super badass match. I know I worked back in the Dizzy. I promise it's not an Iron Man or a Hard as Hell story. We used to do a match called the Vortex Extreme in Wyoming, and Travis Vogel and I would do that along with then SMD, Strategic Match Design, no longer a thing. But it was kind of that similar. It was a hunting flavored long range match, and it was super cool. It made me want to shoot it. It's the coolest match that I never got to shoot. That I got to look under the hood of. Although, you know what? I'll eat it. I'll eat some crow. I do want to do one of the sniper matches where you have to carry all your shit and sleep outside. Like you legit have to like ruck and like, well, there's a mechanized division. I don't want to do the mechanized division. I want to do the sleep outside in the tent division.
Yep.
Because I have an Everly stock pack and I want to use it.
Yeah, these are also a carry all of your shit all day match as well.
Yeah.
So you leave the parking lot, you walk your grid for the day. Not a crazy amount. The stages are, I don't know, you're not walking miles between stages. You're walking hundreds of yards between stages. But what that does is it is sort of the thing that turns it from becoming an accessory race, because you got to pack everything. So people generally like, tripod with a flat top and one bag is like kind of the kit. Like that's what most people are rocking.
We should do a sniper match sometime, you and me. I mean, you'll want
I would love to do one.
You'll want to kill me because we won't do very good. But a hell of a weekend. Hell of a weekend.
Yeah. And this is one of those like shooting matches where I want to do good, but it's like me and my buddy going out to have a good time type match, as opposed to I'm flying halfway across the country and I expect to be on the box type match.
Yeah, me at a long range match, I am 60% guy. Like I am just here. I want to experience it. I want to do my best. Like I don't want to have any like unforced errors, right? I want to do my best, but I have no expectation of being on the box because it is like not my thing. But I would like to try it a little bit someday.
Well, you find us a sniper match and I will be happy to come shoot with you. All right, next match on the list, the very next weekend. So I have a personal rule.
What weekend
that
are you
I
on?
developed. I am on the weekend of May the 3rd.
Okay.
And my personal rule is don't shoot. I try not to shoot 2 majors in the same month if I can avoid it. And I really try not to shoot major matches on back-to-back weekends, because getting off of a plane and you have Tuesday and Wednesday to fix all of the things that were broken from the previous match and then get back on a plane, and you also don't get a whole lot of work done. So that thing that pays for the matches doesn't pay for as many matches. I try not to have this happen, but this is going to happen here. So the very next weekend, Tar Heel 3-gun, which I have never been to and am very excited to go to. Just because I like going to new matches and new places, and quite conveniently, it's in South Carolina, where my wife goes for work trips, and maybe we'll get really lucky and be there at the same time.
So this is,
but I doubt it. We'll see.
Tar Heel 3-gun at Clinton House.
Yep.
It's not the Pro-Am.
Not the Pro-Am.
Okay. So Tar Heel,
is the Pro-Am still going on?
I don't know. I
couldn't find anything on it.
I have to admit that I asked because the Pro-Am was taken over by Tar Heel 3-gun, which is Donnie Flo's company. And when the
Rock Castle?
Yeah, when Rock Castle folded, they kind of picked it up and moved it. I've never been. It's kind of like Superstition. I've never been. Don't have a particularly good reason. Just like when I have to pick, it didn't make the list. But so Tar Heel 3-gun at Clinton House, that is kind of one of Donnie's. Well, it is Donnie's kind of stomping grounds. That's where he puts on a lot of events. So that's his big 3-gun match for the year. Clinton House is. It's kind of a plantation. I mean, a plantation is, I picture like agricultural fields and whatnot, but it's kind of a hunting preserve that they've cut a lot of range features into. They do a lot of sporting clays, a lot of planted pheasant, chucker, upland bird hunting type stuff, or game farm. That's the word I was looking for. It's a game farm facility, and then they've dug out a lot of bays and long range ranges to host events. So Clinton House has been home to 3-Gun Nation events. That is, one of the 3-Gun Nation matches that I won, one of my best match finishes ever was at Clinton House, which is ironic because I don't particularly like it there. But 3-Gun Nation has been there. Donnie pitches his tent there. Zoo City has done matches there. Maybe a couple others, but it is a pretty cool facility. They do have some pretty legit bays, some pretty big bays that they can use. And then I would say about 50% or more of the match will be on natural terrain features. But as few people are from out west, what you'll understand is as you come east, natural terrain facilities kind of have certain spots that can get used, and they kind of don't change a whole lot. So the stages are different every year, but you can there's a
flavor.
There's a flavor. There's definitely a flavor. Yep. There will definitely be a lot of long range. You'll have to probably shoot out to 600 yards, not even reading the match description or anything like that. But yeah, they'll have a 600-yard target. You'll be shooting 3 to 600 yards on at least 4 stages. And then kind of a mix of everything else. But yeah, so another one of, I would say that North Carolina and South Carolina is one of the hotbeds for major matches, still burning pretty strong in the U.S. And so there's two prevalent match directors that I know of running events in that area, and this is the other one. So it's Tar Heel, Donnie Flo, and then Zoo City with Jason Byerly and Buddy Brown.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's another match I've never been to. Psyched to go check out new places. Then I got about
that weekend. I will be. I'm gonna throw Tim a bone here. I'm gonna say it's a major pistol match, even though it's a level 1 USPSA match. But Timmy's Northwoods Showdown, Northwoods Showdown will be in Forest Lake, Minnesota, and that is Tanfo Timmy's Grande pistol match. I think they're kind of going for the Northern Lights version of Dragon's Cup. So
ooh, nice.
Big badass pistol match, and his whole thing is he wanted to do cash purses. So every entry into a division, and we didn't steal it, we used it with permission. But it's kind of similar to what we do in Multi-Gun Nationals. He takes, I think, $50 of every entry fee, and whatever division you enter, that $50 goes into the pot for that division. So the more people that sign up for a division, the bigger the pot gets for that division. And they really emphasize carry optics, limited optics. And then I won limited there last year. And I think that was, did they recognize PCC? I don't remember. But they kind of consolidated how many divisions there were because they wanted to have cash payouts with the big checks to give out.
That's cool.
And Timmy is one of the match stage design geniuses behind the greater Minnesota action shooting matches. He's one of the key match designers or stage designers behind Multi-Gun Nationals. He's actually assistant match director this year, or one of the assistant match directors. So Timmy does a very good job. If you were looking for a pistol match, it is a half hour from Minneapolis International Airport. It is the easiest airport, or one of the easiest airports in the country to get to. And the range is like literally a mile off the interstate. So it's super easy to get to. It's going to be some super awesome pistol shooting. And Minnesota, it's kind of an in-town, out-of-town match for me because I got roots there. But I'll be there for Timmy's Northwoods Showdown that same weekend. We're talking May 3rd and 4th.
Yep, indeed.
1-day format.
Solid.
So Saturday or Sunday. I think it's 10 stages in 1 day.
Nice. I dig it. Can you shoot 2 different divisions on back-to-back days?
Ooh, I don't know if anybody has elected to try that. I usually end up trying to help work it, so I am not
shoot
that guy on this day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Then the next thing that's on my calendar, I get 3 weeks off, and then on the 31st is Tar Heel shotgun match, going back to the same range. Also IPSC qualifier, which is why I'm going, and it's never been a thing, so we don't have a whole lot to tell you about it.
Yep, Tar Heel, that's, again, Donnie Flo's posse at the Clinton House. So that is going to be the Southeast region's shotgun qualifier for the IPSC World Shoot. And other than that, that's pretty much all I know about it as well. But I will be there I will be there for that one as well.
Yep. And then let's see, the weekend of the 7th, I have another NRL Hunter match down in Price, Utah, which is an amazing facility. And then the weekend after that is High Desert Championship, which I am not going to because I have a match the weekend before and a match the weekend after, and one of those has to go away. And that's the only one that I don't have to go to because I have other stuff on the calendar.
We're putting
quite bummed about that.
Yeah, we're putting High Desert in honorable mention categories. I won't be able to go either for reasons I'll tell you in a second. But if you want a big badass 3-gun match to go to, I think High Desert is one of my favorites.
High Desert is about as outlaw as matches get these days.
It's
like
as
we
outlaw
talk
as
about
outlaw
outlaw
gets.
matches, but they're all kind of similar. There's just no governing body. High Desert is its own thing. I expect a lot of shooting, like 300-second stages.
A lot of shooting, a lot of shenanigans, a lot of gray areas.
Yeah, if you're in this for top level competitive equity, might not be your match.
Which I love it so much that I wish we could tighten that up. But
yeah,
so there's a lot of long range at that match, all right? And I mean, it's like a steel challenge gong at 600 yards or whatever it is. It's in the middle of June, so it's hot. It's hot in Boise, Idaho, that time of year. There's a lot of mirage.
Yeah.
And those steel targets don't have strobes on them. So, and a lot of them you have to shoot more than one time. So you have somebody who's looking at them maybe through binoculars, through a bunch of mirage, and you're shooting it more than one time, and you're kind of waiting for them to tell you when you've hit it enough times. It's that kind of stuff where it's pretty fair, but they're more just there to have a good time and shoot like a lot of guns, like a lot. And that's why we love it so much.
It is also technically a 4-gun match.
It's definitely a 4-gun match.
Because there are several stages where there's a bonus rifle, which is more or less unlimited. So usually people will pack out their 6 ARC, 6.5 Creedmoor, or something along those lines, gas gun. Your bonus rifle doesn't have to meet your division, so bipods, brakes, all the, like it's open bonus gun, whatever you think you need to shoot the long range stuff, and the long range bonus stuff will be out to 900 yards, generally speaking. So, this is a empty your safe into your truck and drive out to Parma level match.
Bring 1,000 rounds of everything and good luck.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, if you leave matches where you're like, I wanted to shoot more, then this is the one for you for sure.
I'm always the guy that wanted to shoot more, so that's why I love it.
Yeah,
I can't go to that one this year. Because I really don't want to do the 26-hour drive from Parma to a conference that I need to go to. And I don't know. I need some of those points to fall off my driver's license so we can get the insurance down a little bit. But also my home club of Winnequa Gun Club in Lodi, Wisconsin, they are hosting a I think right now it's technically just listed as the Dan Pollock benefit match. They're trying to do a benefit match to support cancer charity for a local guy who died of said cancer. But also it's probably going to be the Wisconsin State section match, USPSA match that weekend. And I have been roped into Rangemaster for that one, which really, truth be told, is my favorite job at the match. But my local club, again, pick, when it's in your area, take your turn to help out and contribute to the sport. So if there's a major match in our area, I'd like to see more matches at Lodi. Our club got behind this. They asked me to be Rangemaster for it. So I will be at the Wisconsin State. I'm going to call it the Wisconsin State section USPSA match on that weekend as well. But that's an in-towner for me, which is what I'm telling my better half. It's an in-towner. It's not an out-of-towner. But
yeah, and I will be probably spending the weekend with my wife so I can make sure to stay married because that's really important to me. The weekend after that, there's two things going on. There's the Free State Shotgun Qualifier, which I'm going to because it's an IPSC qualifier, and we've covered this a lot. There's also the Ozark Hard 3-gun, which I have no idea about. I don't know anything about it. Do you know anything about it?
Where is it?
I don't know. Given the name, I'm gonna guess
Missouri.
Somewhere in the Ozarks. Yeah, that'd be my guess. So
it sounds kind of like a Hard as Hell spinoff, but I don't know anything about it.
Kind of the gist that I got looking at it. And
is it at Gadsden?
I don't know. It's just in my calendar as that. So, anyways, if you guys want to check it out, who knows? Maybe it's awesome.
Well, I will be at the Free State Shotgun Qualifier as well, primarily because John is the only one that gives me what I want for my birthday, and that's to throw a match. So I'll be there as well. Aside for the obvious reasons, it's because it's my birthday match. But I'll be working that one as range master as well. So I'll be shooting it with the staff on the 20th. On the 20th, if we get to Greece, it's because we did it the hard way.
Yeah. And then into July, the only match that I have in July is USPSA. Whoa, you got another one?
Yeah,
all right.
I also am doing USPSA Factory Gun Nationals.
Ooh, yep.
So, because I do the single stack, so I think I'm going to shoot single stack there, even though it's basically Carry Optics Nationals. And that's one of the ones that Hunter Constantine is throwing down belt cash for. So we're gonna be rocking the rig.
I think you got this one, dude. I think you got this one for some belt cash.
Yeah. He said he would pay out in that division. And we're gonna see how many people sign up for limited. Because I was asking him, should I shoot limited? Because I kind of want to shoot single stack. He's like, we'll see. We're gonna play it by ear. But I was like, man, well, because I was asking him, I'm like, to date it has been highest overall. So it was either like Carry Optics Nationals, it was a level playing field, but like all the area matches, like, well, if you want,
it's gonna win it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna shove my Erebus in my pants and I got a 170. Screw all of you.
Yep.
But I was asking him, I'm like, do you think a limited gun has like a fighting chance against a Carry Optics gun shooting major? And he's like, well, it's not going to really matter because low-key I'm going to pay out in, all the divisions. And I was like, oh, all right, well.
Awesome.
That solves that problem. But I'll be at USPSA Factory Gun Nationals in Ohio. It is a very nice pistol range. It is massive. It's not one of my favorite places. I only go there because that's where the Nationals is. There are worse places to go, but it is not my favorite for no reason that I could really objectively quantify to you.
Fair enough. All right. So I think the next one up then is USPSA Multi-Gun Nats, 18th, 19th, and 20th of July. I've never shot it. I heard the match director is a dick. But outside of that, I don't know much about it.
Yeah, they should fire that guy.
I know. Yeah. From the outside, the thing I'm looking forward to the most about multi-gun Nats, hit factor scored. PCSL has really turned me into a convert for hit factor scoring in multi-gun events, and I think it's gonna be awesome to apply that to full 3-gun, and mostly base stage. I think the long poke is just outside of 300, correct?
Yes, we do only have one place that we can get out to, depending where we put the shooting position. Yeah, it's about 360, 375. But we kind of try to come up with something different to do there every year. Which, so there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
If Donnell Leak is out there listening, we were contemplating the lawnmower option. So just putting that out there for you, buddy. Although last year I wanted to shoot out of the Bobcat. They put a hard no on the Bobcat because we need that for other things during the match. But I don't know. I was kind of thinking like some kind of shaky bridge or maybe like a posture ball, or I don't know, like some kind of.
You know what I think you should do? I think
talking
you
about
should go to
bungee cords.
Yeah, go to Lanny Barnes' Instagram page and just use that for influence, and whatever you think will kill the least amount of participants. That's what you should do.
Yeah, but I'm unapologetically pro hit factor. I'm really glad we went that direction last year, and there will be more of that this year. We are going away from the 4 short stages on Sunday format that I tried for a couple years. Instead,
Yay! I wasn't excited about that.
Last year they were actually pretty fun. They got good reviews, but just for match flow, I guess we're kind of sprinkling them throughout the zones. So there's going to be 12 stages, 4 zones, and they're going to be kind of intermingled in all of there to use all the key interesting features of the facility that people have come to expect. A couple features we haven't used in recent years, so a fresh look on a couple things. One of the things that got Tamfo Tim involved with us is he just wanted to design a pistol stage that was more than 32 rounds.
Yay!
So that was 2 years ago. So this year, our big idea, we put Tim in the 360 bay, and we told him to make a massive pistol stage. Well, the joke was the first year he's like, I want to do a massive pistol stage, and he comes back and he's like, all right, so here it is, guys, 38 rounds. I was like, dude, you can make a massive pistol stage. You just put 3 more targets in there. He's like, yeah, it's pretty big, right? We're like, dude, no. So I think it's like 60 rounds this year.
Nice.
in the 360 bay. Yeah, what else can we tease that we're working on? Couple jungle runs for sure. You can pretty much guarantee we're gonna throw a rabbit somewhere, and I don't know, a bunch of other real shenanigans that I'm sure you'll really enjoy. But that match is done. That's done for USPSA under contract. We have right now we have a 3-year contract to do it. So it's going to be there for a few years now. And really the idea of that match is to test, the basis of USPSA is DVC, speed, power, accuracy. So we got to test DVC with all 3 of the platforms. So really trying to test the full breadth of all 3 of the platforms across a variety of types of stages. There will be single gun stages of all the guns, and then combinations of them all in some combination that makes sense. But we're going to crown the best 3-gunner. We're crowning a national champion 3-gun shooter there. It's not a massive natural terrain match like Texas or Memorial or Tar Heel, but we do get some pretty technical, pretty good shooting in there. And I've pretty much been fired from stage design at this point. I got some mad scientists out there. All they want to do is come up with pain in the ass stuff for you to shoot. So they're going to town on. We actually have a meeting on that again this week to get those finalized and submitted. But we do have lots of stuff in store, and it's when we got control of the match, it was definitely in disrepair. It definitely had a bad reputation. So turning around the atmosphere from the USPSA pistol guys out to DQ the 3-gunners and binoculars in the parking lot, DQing you for putting your rifle in your cart at your car. We've come a long way on all that stuff. So they looked at how we were running some other matches. They said, hey, we would like USPSA multi-gun to be like what you guys do. And I was like, okay, but you got to let us do it then. So aside from all the other nationals, we are the only contracted nationals, and we kind of run independently, and we run as a club. So it's a group of people. I'm the project manager of it all, right? I'm the match director, but it is a tribe of us that take great pride in putting that on for everybody. So if that interests you at all, go ahead and sign up. and we'll see you there.
I'm stoked. I've heard very good feedback from friends who have gone, and I'm psyched to go.
I shoot like shit because I'm the match director. So
Yeah, solid.
It's
solid.
the most awesome match that I don't get to do. Yeah,
you can get at least 15% spread on this one.
Yeah, there's gonna be a big spread at that one.
Yeah. So then into August, the 16th and 17th is the JKM shotgun qualifier, correct?
Yep. So the gosh darn Jeff Kirkwald shotgun qualifier, that traditionally has been a 3-gun shoot-off match for the last 10 years, but we are using that date instead to hold our shotgun qualifier in Minnesota. So that same facility, Forest Lake, Minnesota, all shotgun match. I believe 10 stages, 2 days. We are going to do a shotgun shoot-off under the lights at the barbecue on Saturday night. So we are going to keep the shotgun in there. Hey, there might even be a live on the Perf podcast.
Ooh,
during the shoot-off. Maybe stay tuned
you
for
just
that.
Signed us up for a lot of logistical complexity that I did not agree to. So we'll see how this works out.
It'd be like that in showbiz.
I'd be down. Sure, why not? We'll figure it out.
And also, concurrently, we're going to run a falling steel pistol match with that as well.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So
ooh.
AM, PM, you could shoot shotgun AM. PM, you could shoot a 1 day or a one-time slot. In the afternoon on Saturday, you could shoot the falling steel pistol match.
Nice.
And then you can finish out the shotgun match on the second day. So we can get some more of the local pistol folks involved and get you a little bit more shooting for your troubles and your travels. And then that is a match that we do to benefit some charity yet to be determined. Usually some veterans charity like to spread it around over the years.
Cool. I'm psyched for that. Somewhere also in August is Rocky Mountain 3-Gun, which I've gone to a bunch of times in the past, and I will not be attending this year. It's right at the limit of driving distance from my house, and the amount of effort it takes to get there. There are other matches around the country which I find to be more interesting for a variety of reasons. So I'll be skipping that one, but that one is old school, back in the day style, giant natural terrain 3-gun. It's like the Galapagos Islands of 3-gun shooting, where it is, it has evolved sort of all on its own and become its own quite weird thing at this point.
Having just come back from the Galapagos, I would say that's pretty accurate. It's one of those matches that it's like by the time it hits my radar, my season is so full that it's like adding that is just not. It's not the move. Well, so I have not been.
I think the thing that might tell you the most about the match is, was it last year or the year before? I think it might have been last year, was the first year where you didn't have to mail in a check with your registration form in order to sign up.
Yeah, that may have stunted its growth a little bit.
So then we are into September. On the 5th, 6th, and 7th September is Generation 3-Gun, which I shot at the previous location, which had one of my favorite stages of all time, which was the lake stage, where you shot shotgun on the shore, then you ran onto a dock, then you shot slug targets from one dock onto another dock, then you shot pistol targets from one dock onto a plate rack on another dock, then you shot rifle targets from the dock to the shore across the lake. It was fantastic, and I bombed that stage, and I was quite disappointed in myself. But Generation 3-Gun has the time that I shot it anyways was a fantastic match, very much a charity type event for younger shooters. Are they still doing the shoot-off thing at the end?
I believe so, but that is another one that is super competitive in our internal group to get into, and I've never shot my shot to go. So I've actually never been to Generation 3. However, most of the Minnesota posse, that was like one of their favorite matches. The guys who only like went to 1 or 2 or 3 a year, that was like one of their favorites.
Yeah.
Just never worked out for me to go. I have been to that facility for a junior team match. I forget what it was called, but
I gotcha.
Me and Connor Freiberger were teamed up to. I've shot at that facility, but I've never shot the Generation 3. But yeah, essentially they're running a scholarship program for getting juniors into the sport of action shooting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The way they did the shoot off at the end, so you shot the whole match, the match was over, and then the junior shooters, based off of their finish, got to draft their 2 teammates on the spot. And then you went and had a 3-person against 3-person shoot off. It was super cool. My team won. No thanks to me. I shot the rifle quite poorly, and my team still won. The only thing I did not like about Generation 3 gun is they have mulligans. They didn't have stage mulligans, which is so they had you could basically buy away penalties. You could only buy so many. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, oh, I want that missed popper penalty to go away. And I think you could like buy tickets at the beginning. You had to decide at the beginning how many tickets you're going to buy, and then you could buy away your penalties.
Oh.
I was the only person in the top 30 to shoot a clean match. And if I would have, I did the practice score thing afterwards. Basically everybody ahead of me bought a penalty, and it that bumped me, I think, like 6 spots. Just the inability to buy a penalty because I didn't shoot a penalty anywhere. I wasn't a fan.
You're a better man for it.
And I'm a better man for it. But I didn't dislike that because it bumped me. I mean, I was like a little aggravated, but I really like action shooting because like you step up, it's like rally racing, right? It's like you cross the line and you get what you get. You either drive really well or you put it in the forest and you crash into a tree. So there's a few matches around the country where you can buy a mulligan on a whole stage and just reshoot a stage because you didn't like it. I don't like that. I like this is your shot, you step up and take it, and then you move on to the next stage and you get what you get.
I kind of understand what they were going for there because they want the mulligan concept without putting the match behind schedule with reshoots.
Yeah.
Hearing you explain that for the first time just now, I don't love that idea. I am pro mulligans because the other match that I know of that does it, and I'll even say that they kind of invented it, the Vortex Shootout, that's a Jeremy Moore thing. You have to buy it in the beginning. It's one. You get one mulligan. The money usually goes to charity of some kind. And you essentially get it's essentially get out of jail free reshoot card. So you have a reshoot in play, and I think it's interesting, aside from the obvious, I think it's interesting because it adds an interesting dynamic to the match because essentially you have to decide when you're going to play it. Being action shooters, you're going to shoot your first stage and be like, oh, because all you see is the blemishes, right? So you'd be like, I could clean that up, I could clean that up, I could clean that up. And more often than not, the stage doesn't lie. So it's your option to use it whenever. And it's changed over the years, but basically you have to call it. Started off, you had to call it on the spot. Like before you hit approve on the tablet, you had to say, I want to use my mulligan. They've changed that now to you have to declare it before your squad is done. Like before the last shooter steps off, you have to decide that you want to do it. So you have a little bit more time to decompress and think about it. But really, it's there for catastrophic equipment failure or absolutely bombing a stage. But what is absolutely bombing a stage, right? That's what messes with people's heads, because they'll be like, oh, I could throw my mulligan down and I could undo that. But like, if you burn your mulligan on the first day and then your rifle goes bolt action on the last day, man, you're going to kick yourself for burning that mulligan. So like over the years, I pretty much have to discipline myself that it is only for catastrophic equipment failure. And otherwise I just got to let it be. A lot of times people will almost always burn their mulligan on the long range stage. They'll be like, oh, well, I could do that in 20 seconds faster. And they never do. But it adds an interesting dynamic of messing with people's heads, because they have the option that they can exercise at any time, but when it's gone, and then you don't have your safety net anymore. It adds an interesting dynamic. And then whoever doesn't use theirs at the end of the match, at Jeremy's match, they get put in a hat for a raffle. So
I do like that.
The incentive not to use your mulligan is that you get entered into the raffle for some sweet prize at the end. So I do think it's an interesting dynamic. I almost want to advocate for adding it into USPSA somehow as an option, because I do think it's kind of an interesting dynamic as just a match director liking to mess with people's heads, because it drives people absolutely bananas. They do absolutely unreasonable things when they got that mulligan burning a hole in their pocket.
Nice. So then the weekend after that, the 13th and the 14th, is the Parma team match, which quite sadly I won't be able to go to because my buddy Matt is getting married that weekend and I'm not missing his wedding. So me and Maxwell and Zach shot it this year. It was craziness. I have shot it on the winning team previously. It's always craziness if you take anything that we said about the High Desert Championship at the same range put on them by the same match director, about it needing a lot of guns and being a lot of ammo and being a lot of shenanigans. Just multiply all of those things.
Yeah, make it.
And that's what this is.
Multiply that by 3, and that's what this is.
Exactly.
It is. It was probably the most fun match I shot last year. I am currently single and ready to mingle. I'm probably not going to be able to go after we get to the rest of this month. But damn it, if there was a good team that needed a third guy, I would really try, because that match is super fun.
It's super fun, and it's there's no divisions, there's barely any rules.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, between the three of us, I bet we brought like no shit 30 guns.
Oh yeah,
like I took my entire safe and I put it in the truck, because you can just kind of do whatever you want. Oh, hey, can I stage an extra shotgun full of slugs? Does it say anywhere that you can't? No? Yeah, then you can. You can do whatever you want. It's
Bryson's
great.
freaking shooting a rifle spinner with a 300 Win Mag Nemo.
Yeah, some gas gun 300 Win Mag.
Some dude was shooting his Barrett at the long range, which probably was more fun for him than actually effective.
Yeah, I'm confident.
But it's wild. If
you just like shooting stuff and you want to do it with two of your buddies, it's the one. It's the one. Yeah, it's 100%.
It is the one. It is the most insane craziness that nobody gets hurt at. Of the whole year, and I got multiple photos of me teabagging Riser last year while on the clock. So that
came
was
very
sweet.
close to being the thumb art for this podcast.
So there was. I was
trying to make it work.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where there's 3-man 3-gun is. We should just do an episode on 3-man 3-gun, but. Essentially, there's 3 places for 3 people to be. You each run to one of the places and you shoot the stuff. But also, as you get the stuff shot, you can kind of consolidate down. So in this particular stage, there was way more rifle shooting to do than PCC and shotgun shooting. So our plan was for Riser to go over there and start banging away with his 6.5. And then I was going to come over after I was done shooting the shotgun stuff and then clean up whatever was left over with my 6 arc. And essentially it was kind of a deck prop. So Riser is prone on this, shooting his 6.5. I reverse kneel on top of him, essentially shooting off like the first rail. And it made for some fabulous photography.
Yeah, there is video of it on my YouTube channel. Go find the match footage from that match, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. It was quite well done. And hats off to Tim, who was running the camera, who understood the
he understood the assignment.
Photographic. Yeah, he understood the assignment and got it from all angles. It was very well done. Full panoramic view.
Yes.
All right. End of September into the beginning of October.
Ghost.
You got another one in there?
Yeah, so we have Ghost match in here in September 2nd, 3rd weekend, I think. I don't think they've actually posted it yet, but there should be the last shotgun qualifier in Nebraska at the Heartland Shooting Park near Hornady Manufacturing. So I have solid verbal confirmation from Tom Bush that they're doing that. It's written into the policy, but it has not been posted yet. So that one is going to be that weekend. Your last chance for romance on Shotgun World Shoot qualifier stuff. And then Area 3, USPSA Area 3 pistol match is moving to a new venue. There is a new public shooting park in Rapid City, South Dakota. So they are moving Area 3 out to Rapid City, South Dakota, and that is the 27th, 28th. Travis and I are penciled in to do that as well. So maybe going out to check that out as well. Travis has a Harley, so it's hard to get him not to go to Rapid City at any opportune moment.
Solid. And then weekend after that, so first week of October, is the NRA World Shooting Championship. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I have heard amazing things, and I've heard terrible things, and I've heard all the things, but you basically show up, pay your money. It is all their guns, all their ammo, all their everything, and you shoot kind of all the disciplines. Maybe it's incredible, maybe it's awful. I really don't know. Whether or not I go is going to depend on sort of the rest of October, because October is quite stacked.
Yeah. And maybe you have dates on some of these somewhere in and around this time frame. I don't even know if they've announced the dates yet. Is that
for Memorial?
Well, there's the Vortex Shootout.
And Vortex,
somewhere.
yeah. So, well, here, this is what we're going to do, because I have to go to the bathroom quite badly. So the 2024 dates were the 11th for Memorial and the 18th for Vortex Shootout. And then Race Gun Nats is on the 25th.
I'm
going to let Maxwell vamp about Memorial and Vortex while I go to the bathroom so my bladder doesn't explode.
Oh, wow. You're just leaving me. You want me to just talk while you're. Man, he's really leaving. All right. Yeah. So, Vortex Shootout, like I said, that is Reveille Peak Ranch. It's basically the fall Texas 3-gun championship. It's a little bit smaller scale, but only a little bit. Definitely all natural terrain, jungle running type stages, tons of long range. Memorial 3-gun is in there as well. That's the granddaddy of the Zoo City matches for the fall. It's at words are hard. Griffin Group. There it is. It is at the Griffin Group Training Center in North Carolina. That is one of the bigger matches of the year as well. Sells out in a minute or two every year. I think really the limitation on how fast that sells out now is how fast Practice Score can process it. That match draws a lot of, because of the cause there, and location, and it's on a federal holiday weekend. They draw a lot of military personnel to that one, so you will see a lot of people you don't normally see at 3-gun matches. That's one of those ones where they shoot their one match a year at that one. Heavily attended, usually over the top. and well-constructed match. I've shot it several times. Haven't in recent years for personal reasons, but that is a pretty big event and pretty big prize table as well. And then what was the other one I was supposed to talk about?
Vortex Shootout.
I talked about Shootout. I talked about
Race Gun Nats.
Oh, Race Gun Nats. Yeah, so
back in St. George. Woo!
Where it belongs. I'm so excited to shoot
belongs.
back in St. George again. That's really the reason I'm going. And so Race Gun Nationals is, I believe, is it PCC Open and Limited Optic?
I think so, yes.
And I'm all about limited optic, so
oh man, we're
why.
gonna get a shoot straight up in a USPSA match if I can get in.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to shoot that one. I was trying really hard not to tell a hard as hell story on this podcast, but like
not gonna make it.
It just hit me right in the feels. I just had so much fun at those matches that anytime there's something at that range, I kind of have FOMO. So USPSA Nationals is at a St. George facility. Definitely going to try to make that one as well. But that makes October a pretty stacked month.
Yeah, October is quite full. And then we're into November and December are big blank spots on my calendar. Somewhere in there is going to be PCSL Two-Gun Nationals at its new location. It's no longer going to be at Prairie Fire, unfortunately. But the date hasn't been announced. TBD, yeah. So the date hasn't been announced because the range hasn't been announced. But it will be somewhere, and I will be there for sure because that match was awesome this year.
Yeah, definitely really want to go to that match. I'm getting ready to I'm gonna get a founding membership. I think I'm going all in on PCSL as well. I just really like what Max is doing with that format and with that sport. So definitely like that. And then the other thing in November, I think it's the second weekend in November. It's traditionally Area 2 at Rio Salado. I've gone the last few years. I really enjoy Area 2. It's currently listed as like the Desert Sportsman's. No, it's not Desert Sportsman's. It's like the High Desert something or other. And it's listed as a level 3, but it's not listed as an area match yet because that area has changed leadership. So a bit of politics there. If that big match that has traditionally been Area 2 is going to be Area 2 this year, I bet that it ends up being Area 2. But I do like to shoot Area 2 as well, so that one's kind of on my schedule as well. And then, yeah, like Riser said, usually the one that brings up the rear is PCSL Nationals, which kind of sucks because it's late in the year, so the days are really short. But I just kind of associate it with that time of year. So it's a really cool time to be out in the desert. I think it's kind of cool outside, but it's not cold, but it's cool. There's nothing really competing with it. Like by that time of the year, the rest of the shooting is kind of settled down, so there aren't really a whole lot of distractions for it. And also, being the last match of the year, it kind of feels like a culminating championship. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm anxious to see what facility Max brings it to and ultimately what date it's going to be. But yeah, stoked for that one as well. And gosh, that's a lot of shooting. Yeah.
I scrolled through the calendar in preparation for this, and I just came off almost 2 years with no matches, and I am hoping this wasn't one of those eyes bigger than my stomach sort of things, but we're about to find out. So I missed
there's
out gonna be a lot of traveling
on one already. There's a group in Florida trying to resurrect like the Area 6 multi-gun
match. Interesting.
So we did miss that one. So a new group they called it the Florida something or other. And I meant to go and then I forgot about it. But for next year, honorable mention, like I would say that one is worth looking at as well. Talking to Joe Farewell, it sounded like it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I saw some of his footage on Instagram and stuff, and it looked like a decent looking match.
Yep. I mean, now that's a pistol range, all right? So like don't expect like big massive natural terrain hootenannies over there. But those boys, the pistol guys, they know how to set up some technical stuff. And I think we need to get more of that back into the mix. So if matches like that are going to get back on the schedule, I'm definitely going to try and get behind them. So I definitely have my eyes on trying to get to that one next year. I always mean to go to Area 5 because I technically live in Area 5, but they always put it on a weekend where I have a conflict. So I haven't been to Area 5 and won't be this year either. So, yeah, I think that's what we got for a schedule. Sounds like we're gonna need
That's
to do.
the year.
We're gonna need to do some more reload and make sure you have enough ammo for all this.
Yeah. Well, I just bought 50,000 bullets, so I have a lot of reloading coming up. Turns out I mathed it really quick, and 50,000 115 grain Full Metal Jacket bullets weighs 689 pounds. So I'm happy that I can pick them up instead of getting them shipped.
I have an allocation of bullets as well, and I just loaded them in the back of my truck from where I got them, and I was like, oh well, it's winter outside, so I should just leave them back there. That's my winter like pickup bed weight.
Nice
for the ice.
Yeah.
Took my in-laws home from the airport today, and they're like throwing their luggage back there, and they're like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's weight." They're like, "Yeah, but like, what is this?" I'm like, "That's bullets." Like, that's bullets? I'm like, "Yeah, that's a lot of bullets." I'm like, "That's not even all of them." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Yeah, I'm on the don't run out plan. Well, that'll do it. That is pretty much all of the things that you can shoot in the 2025 season. I'm sure we're missing some random stuff here and there, but the ones that were interesting enough to catch the attention of me and Mr. Maxwell. So if you want to go shoot those matches, you should, because they're awesome. They're good enough that I'm getting on a plane for almost all of them. You got anything else to add?
Like I said, go sign up for Multi-Gun Nationals on PracticeScore.com. And if you want to get at us, he is Adam Reiser everywhere. I am 3-Gun AMAX some places. And you could just drop us an email at ontheperfpodcast, one word, @gmail.com. If you have something that you would like us to fill an hour and a half of your time with, gosh, we'd love to hear it. So just send it on over there. And, yeah. With that, keep those overlays handy. This is On the Perf. We'll talk to you next time.